Draft physics comment video again. Some more. You just have to keep cleaning up some of these people, the bitter ones, and let them have their last say, and be done with it. Yeah, I'll just get on with it. So this comment is in this spam folder for the hubris hack sock. Again, stock. Well, anyway, it's not that complicated. I really don't have an obligation to play with hecklers, and that's all you people really are, is hecklers. You're just wasting my time, taking time out of my show, so to speak, the topic of physics, to do your sloppy and reckless accusation bullshit. I don't have to do this. How many times did you beat your wife? When was the last time you beat your wife? I don't have any obligation to play your game. So if you can't up the game, where you're not making grotesquely inaccurate accusations, and you're not redundantly saying things that I've already responded to directly and explicitly, then fuck you. We're not playing. Well, I'm not playing that. I don't think you would play it in your real life either, asshole. So I will venture. I mean, it's on the message board already, but I think I will put something in the description of all the videos. A list of the cranks of different style. Ken Wheeler, Miles Mathis, Science League guy, whatever his name is, James McGrin, because we'll eventually going to disagree about everything. He's putting footers in his videos now, which is fine, and a link, so that's fine. I'm not opposed to people advertising on my channel at all, especially if it's not frivolous mush. But yeah, I'm not going to do their argument. I'm not going to do their agenda on this channel. So if the petty whatever they are, the spammy troll fucks, have some website they think has integrity, some blog, some place where they're telling the truth, and especially if it is responding to anything I have had said, and they have any place where it's written, or somebody's making a video making some sort of coherent response to my videos, then fine, I'll link to it. But I'm not going to link to your Encyclopedia Dramatica or some other sloppy, reckless, malicious, and totally inaccurate, false website. So if you can't not lie about what I've said, then we can't be friends in any way. We can't do this let's have a civil debate thing. I don't do that with malicious liars. It's really not that complicated. Alright, so this, whatever, Hubertus, whatever, Ballsack says, at 2730, you explain attraction created by absence of push. Yeah, so far so good, but 5530 you say the minor amount of bits, a minor amount of bits is perpendicular reflected coming from above and going straight into the shadow. Okay, I get what you mean, but yeah, I gotta find better vernacular than shadow probably. I don't understand why this amount of perpendicular reflected bits is not equal in each direction, and so counterbalances those getting lost from other directions. The simple answer is because it's only 1/2 of the polarization. So it is true that protons and electrons have a repulsive force, and it's just that they have an attractive force that's stronger. But there is some repulsive force. The key is that it's obviously by comparison to the repulsive force between proton and proton, or the repulsive force between electron and electron, it's tiny by percentage, just because the force of repulsion can theoretically be not infinite, but it has no obvious limitation, in the sense that it has to do with this a ping pong ball trapped between two surfaces, and you can always make the surfaces closer together, making the ping pong balls bounce faster, meaning more force, or you can add more ping pong balls and adding force that way. So that repulsion force can be extremely high, like the voltages on something or whatever. You can go very high voltage. But you can't do that with the attractive force. Only in the reverse sense, that you can have more pressure applied, but you can't create the low pressure any lower than a certain low. You get to a certain low, it gets no lower. Okay, so I'll read the rest of it. I don't understand why the amount of perpendicular reflected bits is not equal in each direction, and so counterbalance those getting lost from the other directions. Well, I'll draw a picture of it, but it's only half the force. Like I said, half the force is just doing half the force does the perpendicular thing, so the red bits go into the black bit and go perpendicular, but the black bits reflect. So the black bits create almost a perfect vacuum. Did you ever see the video, somehow the gyro wheel fights gravity, or should I say unbend the space? By the way, can you bend 1 meter long rod, but you can't bend a meter? You can bend a 1 meter long rod, but you can't bend a meter. I don't know what that means. I don't think the physics have a good explanation for this. Well, angular momentum gets really complicated, but it's force that's always, it's the idea of everything being a conductor, essentially, of some forces. So some forces, everything's a conductor. And so the force will try to balance. So if one thing's moving, the movement will end up passing through everything and you'll start moving. It's that kind of thing. So it's kind of an argument like other kinds of forces, like accelerations, vibrations, heat. There's insulators and there's conductors. And so you have to understand in terms of motion, everything's a conductor of motion. Something like that. I haven't played the video, but I assume it has something to do with wheels turning and blah blah blah. So I guess we could find that out. But I'll draw the picture first and explain what I'm talking about in terms of the forces between electrons and protons and each other and all that stuff. So we'll make the proton black for this example, and we'll make the electrons red just for the sake of something interesting. So the argument is that although, so when the black forces hit this, they can't get through. Okay, they just bounce back off, and this thing gains momentum in this direction. So the black ends up getting absorbed. So this doesn't get hit by any blacks. And likewise, this doesn't get hit by any reds this way. So there are no turns made on either one of these things, in the sense that no momentum's collected from, no momentum from black here, no momentum from red here, or vice versa. Okay, so that there's no, geez, you know, always got to be careful how you always say it. All the force coming this way, in one way or another, doesn't make it. The red bits bounce off, okay, and the black bits will go perpendicular. So nothing coming this way can get to this, and likewise nothing coming this way can get to that. So there's no way it can get momentum going this way, and the only way a force can get in here is that a red comes in perpendicularly and comes out in this dimension. Now it could come out this way, could go out the other way. It's got two dimensions to choose from, because there's 3 dimensions that are always perpendicular to the dimension you're moving in. Okay, so there's left, right, up, down when you're moving in and out, so to speak. So it's only 1/4 of the amount of this energy will come out this way. But it is going to be a red bit. They'll hit the red here, bounce off, come back to the black, and then leave in some other perpendicular direction. So there is some force, and likewise some blacks will do the same thing here. They'll come in perpendicularly, come out this way, reflect off the black, come back in and go out another dimension. So there is some force here. The point is it's a tiny amount compared to the total amount of this force and this force, which are the two forces that are pushing it together. So this is 1/4 and 1/4. So at best all you have is a half of one polarization. So it's 1/4 of the total strength. So this force would be 1/4 the strength of this force. So this is 3/4 stronger. That's sort of the argument. It is the argument. So there's still plenty of low pressure to push things into. And again, it's always tricky because they say things like, well, the electron and the proton have the same charge. Well, that only means that as a filter, they filter by the same rules. They create the same, they have the same profile in terms of what goes through them and what gets changed by them. So even though they're a different size, says physics, you know, hugely different in size. Okay, big, giant different in size. The argument would be like a magnet. The electron is a lot more, it's doing a lot more polarizing. So it doesn't have any dirt in it. So it's doing this in a very pure way, where the proton is got to be a very sloppy filter. And so let's just say the number of lines dictate how many particles get changed. They have the same number of lines if they have the same charge. Doesn't mean that they have the same charge density, so to speak. Just means that if a particle hits, it has the same odds of hitting a line. That's all. And that's so they end up with the same charge, but they're both converting, even though they're different size, the same amount of material. That's probably even a layer deeper than should be necessary, but I think it answers your question. Clearly, the 3/4 to 1/4 argument is the answer to the question. That's why it doesn't equal out, because there's 3 dimensions, and there's 2 dimensions of perpendicular. So the 2 dimensions of perpendicular give you 4 directions the ton could go in, 4 planes, 4 sectors. Right. Okay, so I think that answers that. So, yeah, that was in the spam folder. I think I blocked them, but I'm not sure. But I'll approve that comment. But yeah, I think it was done for other reasons. Anyway, so I don't think there's anything else important here. So there's a James McGrin on the religion. So I'm not doing religion on this channel, but I'll save that for the Inmendum channel or some other time. But yes, sounds really, really dumb, which is unfortunate. It's tragic and sad, but that's just the way people are. Tragically and sadly, inconsistently logical. Okay, Mr. Knight Shama Lama Ding Dong. See, it's just not going to work for me. You got to come here with a little more respect for the page, the purpose. That's just showing you just don't give a fuck. Fine, that's your way of going through life. It's not my way. Holy shit, this is an embarrassment. Well, for you it should be. Your name should be kind of embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed to choose something that's stupid. If I'm going to waste 5, 6 words, you know, six symbolic representations of a word, almost a word maybe, I wouldn't type that crap. I mean, you shit yourself on TV embarrassment. I guess it depends on the circumstance. But anyway, you know, maybe that's not all bad. I'm talking deathbed conversion embarrassment. So whatever. you think because you say that, you somehow, oh, he's terrifying me into some notion that I should be embarrassed, when they're two probably nail on the head videos. I was on, frankly. I was incredibly cogent, efficient in my words, precise, just fucking eloquent as hell, idiot. So, you think that's going to work? Anyway, first off, your answer to the momentum problem is matter captures flux tons. Well, again, I've never used the word flux. And so because this guy uses it now, it's a word you can label. So you're just proving my point. You people can't be honest to an argument. You sit there and straw man and create false positions based on previous spammers and trolls. I mean, it's just an amazing pile of crap. But anyway, flux tons after it's been reflected. Your answer to the momentum problem is matter captures. I said for a period of time. Yeah, that's how it moves. I mean, I've explained this before, but let's say you had a big giant bubble of bubble gum, and you were pushed a new piece of bubble gum in. The idea would be is that the piece you push in will blend into the entire blob and create a little tiny bit of increased circumference of the entire blob. So in essence, it goes into all the bubble gum and makes it a little tiny bit bigger. Well, velocity works the same way. A quantum of energy goes into something, and that quantum of energy is spread through the whole thing, and that takes time. See, that's the distance part. It takes time to spread it throughout everything. So the thing, the little quanta, would have been way over here, but it's still moving through the big thing, changing the position of each little bit. And so each little bit moves a little tiny bit forward. So if there was a million things, it would move 1/1,000,000th of a quanta forward. And it would take time to do that. And the amount of time would be the difference between it moving that little tiny bit, that very slow movement of going a little tiny, 1 quanta, and this is where the energy would have been if it didn't absorb it. So you can see the difference. Okay, absorption here, not absorption here. And that means the energy didn't get to the thing over here in time. It was delayed. And that delay means it's going to react by it moving a little forward and doing exactly the same thing. And that's what's incrementally, things are going backward, forward, and they jiggle into each other. That's how it works, is that it takes time, for the Earth is much slower than the energy pushing it. The energy pushing it is going really fast, the speed of light. The Earth isn't going anywhere near that, going towards the sun. It's going 0.0018 meters per second towards the sun. 0.0018, I think it is, meters per second. That's how slowly it's moving towards the sun. Jeez. Okay. After it's been, then why would there even be gravity at all? And then you say the flux tons travel at the speed of light, which just might be 10 to the 17. Well, I never said it just might be. The guy said 10 to whatever number. He's saying the ultramundane particles have to go 1 trillion times faster than the speed of light. I'm like, no, they don't. No, there's no obligation to them go any faster than the speed of light. They could even go slower. They have to go at constant speed, yes, or it gets really messy. But clearly that's the rule, yes. They have to go the speed of light. They don't have to go faster. And so now you converted this into me saying the speed of light is 10 to the 17th. I never said that. So you can't understand how this is just overtly lying about my position, and I have no obligation to sit there and address lie after lie after lie after lie. I mean, you're just disgusting liars. You just can't put words together honestly ever. So anyway, clearly the idea of a reflection in a kinetic world gets a little complicated because it's an energy equation. And the point is that the matter has its own agenda, so to speak. So a reflection is really two things moving the speed of light hitting each other. That's what all the interactions are, technically. So the idea of the reflection is just that they're both reflecting. There's an internal and an external reflection. So there's change in both positions. Both things exchange the change. And the point is if there are two different colors, and the change is this one was red and it goes this way, okay, and this one was black and it goes this way, you can get it. That there's change in the universe because of the interaction. Wow. Alright. Well, it doesn't really do this. That was the wrong way to say it. It does this exchange. This is going this way, this is going this way, and the exchange is this one, the black one, goes this way, and this one, the red one, goes this way, the way this one was going. That's the exchange. It's just pathetic. So anyway, like I said, you're done here, ding dong. No doubt you'll show up again, but I'm just saying I'll just keep doing this routine. You'll keep whining about somehow your argument's not being addressed, and I'll just point out that, well, if you could make a civil one, it'll be addressed. But I'm not going to respond to your uncivil ones with anything but what you deserve, which is ridicule and any kind of death wish I can imagine at the moment. Fuck you. Alright, James McGreen guy said, fantastic response. Most people don't understand why this is a great response. Well, anyway, yeah, most people will. Anyway, it was a good one. Well, I'll say that much. We'll see if it'll be interesting to see if John Adams responds in kind with some follow-up as to how my arguments were not as brilliant as I consider them. Yes. You know, somebody brought up the well, it's probably in here, so I'll just wait. Space-time doesn't endlessly generate a seemingly infinite supply of uniform particles. This is not a valid comparison. Look, if you don't think it's valid to compare the fact that they're claiming the existence of a structure, and I'm claiming the existence of a structure. Now, my structure is incredibly simple. Little particles, or things, or somethings, little somethings, traveling a constant speed in a straight line direction, and the only function they have, the only feature they have, the only property they have is polarization. They're this or they're this. That's it. So no other mechanical structure beyond a thing moving the speed of light with this feature. Their function is the universe is made of some infrastructure that does this complex geometry based on the mass of objects that not only affects objects being pulled towards it, okay, but it also gets pulled towards them by this structure of geometry that's somehow written into space on the non-existent space geometry table. I mean, it's a whole medium, it's a whole structure that obligates items to slide down geometric gradients, mathematical gradients, and it's completely undefined. So what's, you know, to say that if you're going to do an argument from where did that come from, or how did that be, how did that get invented, and you think you win that argument with your bent space, I'm just saying that sounds really silly to me. You don't win that argument. So if you're going to throw the stone, where did your little tons come from? Your simplest thing describable. I mean, you can't really describe a universe any simpler, can you? I mean, I could take away the polarization, okay, it'd be simpler. Okay, little bits going the speed of light, and I could have little bits and not have any speed. But I mean, it's about as simple as you can define a checkerboard. You can't get a simpler game than this. And so you would say anything that the universe is simply made out of, you would disqualify it because God didn't place it there. I don't have a creator. So yeah, I'm just saying. I think your argument. You should be able to appreciate that you're in the weak position, arguing for the invisible man, and I'm arguing for there's a dent in the guy's skull with the same shape as the rock I found in your hand. You did it. It wasn't the invisible man. Anyway, however, you yourself asked where the energy for space-time comes from. I'm asking an honest question in the sense that every force we know of, we have to account for the energy. Well, they don't account for it. So I'll take that back. They blame the energy on some nothing, okay, some field. So it's the electromagnetic field that gives everything meaning, substance, reality. And I'm simply arguing, no, it's the little ton things that push everything. Anyway, movement requires an explanation. So I'm just saying your explanation is this moves towards the earth because there's geometry telling it to do it. Okay. I don't think so. Not even close to an explanation in my opinion. Okay, where does the energy for the seemingly endless supply of unimaginable amounts of particles come from? Well, I've already explained that. I mean, you're arguing that there is a Big Bang, I no doubt. I could ask you, what is the background radiation coming from? So the cosmic background radiation, where do you think that's coming from? I'll just say it's coming from the same place that's coming from. How's that? Does that answer your question? The same exact place. Yeah. The cosmic background radiation is just random duplication of stuff at frequency. That's why it sounds like noise on every channel. I mean, that's why it is on every channel. There's cosmic rays in it, there's X-rays in it, there's ultraviolet light in it. There's all kinds of different radiations in the cosmic background radiation. Because it just happens to make tons now and then. Okay. Are we done? Anyway. I'm just saying, there's obviously more in the microwave range. And that could have a cause. But the point is, whatever that radiation is coming from, whatever's excreting it, let's just say the gravitons come from exactly the same place. Alright, so now he calls himself Juan Jane, and so he was Shaolin before. So, I mean, this whole game, like I said, why would you think a person who's living their life straight up, trying to do things, the right things, why would they want to play this game? Why would they have fake identities, fake names? Why would they do that? Why would they be interested in people who play those kind of games? Those are just people who harass you on your phone and shit. Those are just garbage humans. So you can't even get that? Jeez, you're so dumb. Fuck you for that response. Yeah, whatever. You got what you deserved, and I thought it was well placed. I think the anal bomb shoved up your ass was amazingly effective. I blew your new asshole, and I blew you one in a new dimension. Yeah, your asshole's in the multiverse. Your new asshole. If I'm an asshole, then you were an asshole first. Well, that's just lying. Because no, I'm never the asshole first. I wait for you to push the button, and then I say, time to, vomit in the toilet. Anyway, and as far as you being guilty as hell of the fallacy I accused you of, I'm pretty sure you won the argument based on your totally hypocritical reaction. Hysterical. I didn't hysterically react. I thought I eloquently shoved a bomb up your fucking ass and blew it out. As the average person, ask the average person, and they'd say yes, somebody reacts that way. Like a woman that lost an argument, the way you did. No, I won the argument, and decisively. Thank you. It's probably because you're the ones who, the last video had like 42 dislikes with like 100 views. I mean, it's obviously you people are the ones keying cars and stuff. I mean, you're the ones who can't control yourselves. Probably because they're compensating for a lack of logic or rationality. So, just a little bit of a veiled chauvinism thrown in for the fun of it. Great, that's just super. I'm glad you're for that. I mean, I don't mind a chauvinist joke now and then, but when people build it into it as if it's a philosophy, that's really just dumb. When I accuse you of ignoring evidence, I assume you don't have a 5-second memory and can remember things that were mentioned as much as several months ago in the past. Well, again, you haven't, there's been nothing buried on this channel, nothing deleted, nothing retracted, beyond me saying, whoops, I made a few mistakes here and there. And so, again, I'm asking you, I'm saying, go ahead, link me to a site that posts links to all this evidence you have of something. Because you don't have any evidence. Yes, you don't. So just keep saying it, and I'll just keep saying that's a lie. So until you prove it, we're done talking. Because I don't agree with your premise that you've provided anything called evidence. Things that might have been said, articles that people may have linked to. And again, I've gone to the links. I point out that the scientific article describing whatever it was, faster than light or some other kind of idiotic thing, was pseudoscience. It was complete bullshit. So I figured out talking to you is a waste of time. Well, good. I wish you'd just go to hell or go somewhere else, because yes, you're a useless, shitty human being that can't put a sentence together in any kind of honest manner. And that I should either make videos myself, well, no chance that'll happen because you're a coward, or maybe take the conversation to my blog, William Gelfield Science Blog. Well, I went go looking for that. All I found was something by some doctor. So I don't know what blog you're talking about. I think you should have at least enough integrity to accurately describe the title of your blog, so you can search it for it on YouTube. I mean, it's a medical blog. I don't think you're a doctor. Either way, I know you'll never be held accountable for what you say. Yes, beyond the fact that I'll read your snarky, shitty, lousy, rotten, crappy comments, and then I'll appropriately say, hey, I don't eat shit, fucker, so you're not going to feed me that crap. Maybe that works on your mama, but it ain't going to work on me. Either way, I'll never be held. I know you'll never be held accountable for what you say. And again, the accountability is that my videos are public. I'm telling people that if you can link to some legitimate source that actually does something called not lying, I'll post the link to it. So if you have some opposition argument, some evidence, I will post a link to it if you're going to describe it in some honest way. That's the problem I have with YouTube channels. Well, I have a big problem with YouTube commenters. The channels have to be accountable because they're public and people can play them and respond to them. So even though people like Ken Wheeler run away from accountability, people can find the videos I make, and they can find the videos other people make, and he's held accountable. And blogs, to an extent, you'll never get to hear the counter argument. So again, I'm not afraid of your counter argument. you can't make one that doesn't contain lies. And so until you fix that, yeah, I'm not playing. Because you can just censor the comment section to make you look good. Well, again, there's no evidence I've censored the comment section for that purpose, because I've left plenty of comments that do not in any way flatter me. And I've left them because they're reasonably civil, and they're not excessively personal and gratuitously inaccurate. That's the standard. Just don't be gratuitously inaccurate. And there will never be some expert hovering over your shoulder going, that's not true. Well, again, I want the opportunity. I'll pay an expert to critique me. As long as he puts his reputation on the line, I'm okay with that. As long as he's not going to run away from what he says. I'd love the opportunity to show the expert for what he is, which is not really an expert. Nope, not actually based. Nope, not actually based. That's a question. Nope, that's just a lie. Well, it's a lie to say I'm afraid of experts. That's a stupid lie. Obviously not. I'm willing to pay them. That's hardly evidence of fear. That's the problem with YouTube and people like yourself. No, the problem is with the talking heads who aren't accountable, who don't do this. They don't read these comments. They don't deal with this at all. They don't deal with anybody who disagrees with them. Alright, so now he brings up yourself, Eric Dumby. Like somebody's supposed to know who Eric Dumby is. Who's Eric Dumby? Asshole, etc. He puts etc. Oh yeah, well that covers it all, doesn't it? Not even close. One thing, though, I heard you were willing to bet on whether Eddington's experiment gets replicated during the months. Well, I mean replicated in a positive way. To replicate Eddington's experiment, let's remember, Eddington wrote about his own experiment in 1919 in his own notes. I wouldn't stake my life on these results. I wouldn't bet my life on it. He wasn't. It was a shitty experiment. It took 2 years of wrangling for them to agree to say, well, yeah, I think it's there. 2 years of negotiating with each other over it. So, not brilliant. I heard you'd be willing to bet whether Eddington's experiment gets replicated during this month's eclipse of the sun. Yeah, again, getting replicated in the same bad manner would be stupid. So if people are going to use photographic plates and do it all wrong, then yeah, that would be really dumb. But if they wanted to use GPS and make sure their clock is accurate and take some video, cool. Because yeah, they're not going to see anything that's going to verify gravitational lensing. I'm planning on performing the experiment and filming it. Great. I'm glad, but I don't know how good your technology is. I would imagine there has to be some big telescope between Seattle and Wyoming that should be able to do the job, but okay, if we have to depend on you, fine. If you'd like to put your money where your big mouth is, well, go ahead. You hit me up. He says, hit me up, pup. You go ahead. What's your number? What are you willing to lose? I'm always on the lookout to make some easy money. I'm just saying, well, your easy money can't be you cheating. So I got to know something about the technology you're using. But the fact that nobody with any kind of really unimpeachable, somebody who can do the experiment in a manner that's unimpeachable, without bias or any easy accusation that, well, they just faked it to get in the newspaper. I mean, they have to be a person of enough character where you can have some dependability, and you've shown no character. You can't even participate in a YouTube community using a legitimate name, for fuck's sake. Think about it first, asshole. Will you think about it? Think about the fact that in 100 years there hasn't been any technology capable of validating this experiment. That means they haven't even put a telescope in an airplane. you know, where you get rid of a substantial amount of the scatter during an eclipse, where it could actually follow the eclipse. They haven't even done that. They haven't spent $1. They haven't invested any money at all in validating the experiment that made Einstein a household word. And you're telling me it's going to be like that? It's going to be easy. I'll do it, no problem. Good luck. Think about that, asshole. No scientist wanted to get his name in the paper by absolutely confirming Eddington's results. No doubt about it. Clear as day. Here's the videotape of the object moving, then moving backwards, and then moving. Nobody wanted that thrill in the last 100 years. Anyway, fair warning, anybody backtracks out of a bet with me, I'll sue the prick. I likewise think that's an appropriate thing to do. Contracts are contracts. And I'll know I'll win against a shit kicker like you by default, because you gotta do is show up in court. Well, you really don't have to show up in court. It's all papers, really, arguments. I don't know if you really understand that concept, but legal process is just arguments. The performance art is completely unnecessary. Most of the Supreme Court cases, they don't even hear oral arguments. Well, actually, the Supreme Court, I think they do for show now. Most of them, they give them an hour. I'm at your disposal for whatever purpose you wish. Hasta luego puta, or whatever. Yeah, fuck you, fake person. But good luck. You know, I bet you're not gonna. Yeah, I bet you're not. So, fuck you. Oh, that's done. So I think that's all done, and I did the other comment, and so what else do I want to do? There was some other frickin' thing I had on the agenda. What the hell was it? Damn. Well, I'll reload the comments just in case. Yeah, nothing new. Alright, yeah, I'm sure there was something else I wanted to do, but, well, it doesn't matter. I'll give you a break. Shorter video than usual. And, so yeah, we'll see what happens. And such. Yeah, I think I took care of everything. Okay, till next time.